Okay, so uh, let's talk about couple. Okay, so couple is actually a type of moment. Okay, so this is defined as two parallel forces which are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Okay, so three requirements must be meet first in order for us to determine two forces as couple. So una, dapat parallel yung dalawang forces katulad ng meron tayo dito sa figure. So parallel sila. Okay, that's the first requirement. The second requirement is the magnitude of the two parallel forces must be equal. So katulad nito ulit, so if the downward force is 100, the upward force must be 100 also. And then lastly, the third requirement is that the two parallel forces must be opposite in direction. So as you can see here, the force on the left side is acting downward, and then the force on the rightward, the force on the right side is acting upward. Okay, so meaning to say, we can classify this as couple. So take note that couple is a kind of moment. Okay, this is also classified as moment. Okay, a very important detail that you must know about couple is that it always remains constant at any point of rotation. So that's the first important point that you need to remember. Kahit anong point yung i-consider mo, hindi yan nagbabago. Kung ang i-consider mong point ay point O, so definitely yung makukuha mong moment, ganun pa rin. Okay, yung moment generated by the couple, ganun pa rin. Now, how can we compute the moment? Kasi as you can see, the graphical presentation of the two forces, the two forces are in terms of force, yung graphical presentation ng force, which is a straight line and then arrowhead. Okay, so this is another form of couple, but another form of this is once it is already converted to moment. So rotational na. Okay, this is another form of moment. Yung usual graphical presentation ng moment. Okay? So to prove that couple always remains constant no matter what point we consider. So let's try to get the moment at the four given points, point 0, point 1, point 3, and then point 0, point 1, point 2, and then point 3. Okay, so let's start let's start getting the moment about point O. So definitely if this is the point of rotation, yung force na nasa left side, ang ikot niya clockwise, ang moment arm niya 1. So therefore that is positive 100 times 1. And the next is yung force na nandito sa right side, ang ikot naman niya this time is counterclockwise, and then the moment arm is 2.5. So that is going to be negative 100 times 2.5. So by simplifying, the value is also equivalent to negative 150. So that's the value of the moment generated by the couple. If we consider point 0 as our moment center. Paano kung gusto kong ibahin? Let's say, this time, I want point 1 as my moment center. So let's get the moment this time if we want point 1 as our moment center. So the moment generated by the force on the left side is automatically 0 because it is passing through the point of interest. So that is 0. Pero i-display pa rin natin dito sa calculation natin. And then the moment generated by the force on the right side is going to be counterclockwise, and then the moment arm is 1.5. So that is equivalent to negative 100 multiplied by 1.5. So that is also equivalent to negative 150 Newton meter. So as you can see, hindi siya nagbago. Okay, kasi nga that's the concept, the important concept that you need to get now every time you are encountering couple. Okay, or let's proceed to the next point. So what if point 2 naman this time, yung gagamitin nating point of interest. Okay, so therefore yung force doon sa left side, ang ikot niya counterclockwise, ang moment arm niya 1.5. So that is negative 100 times 1.5. Tapos yung force naman doon sa right side, yung magpapass through doon sa point of interest, so meaning to say 0. So the answer is still negative 150. And if we choose point 3 as the moment center. So yung force nandito sa left side, ang ikot niya counterclockwise, ang moment arm 3.5. So that is negative 100 times 3.5. And then yung force naman dito sa right side, ang ikot niya clockwise, and then ang moment arm niya ay 2. So the answer is still negative 150 Newton meter because it is independent at any point of rotation. So that is one of the most important principle attributed to couple. Okay, or connected to couple. Okay. Now for appreciation, so let us try to solve problem number 9. Forces P and F together with a couple C are equal to 35 pounds, 45 pounds, and 130 pounds feet respectively. If the resultant moment exerted by these at point O is a counterclockwise 150 pounds feet, determine the angle that force P makes with the vertical plane. The coordinates at point A and B are negative 6.2 and 3.4 respectively. Okay, so this is the picture of our force system. So we have only two forces, one vertically upward, which is force F, and then the other one is inclined force P. Okay, yun nga lang, its direction, which is in terms of angular distance measured from the vertical axis, is unknown. So let's call it theta. And then we have one moment, and that is couple. So take note, its location is unknown, no? Kasi nga its location doesn't matter kasi nga at any point that we will consider, the magnitude of the couple remains 130 pounds feet. Okay, so in this problem, we are just asked to find the value of theta. Okay, 2 points ang binigay dito, point A, point B. Tatlo kapag i-consider natin yung point of origin, which is point O. And then, the good part about this problem is that the coordinates of point A and then point B are given. So, siguro the first step that we need to do is to get the components muna of the inclined force P. So let's determine its x component. So by using sine cosine, since the description of the direction is an angular distance. So in computing its x component, so definitely sine function. So it is also equivalent to P sine theta. And then substitute the magnitude of P, which is 35. So that is also equivalent to 35 sine theta. And then to determine its y component, so definitely cosine function. Okay, so Py is also equivalent to P cosine theta, and then substitute again the magnitude of P, which is 35. So that is also equivalent to 35 cosine theta. And then let us simplify the orientation of our figure. So instead of the inclined force, so focus na lang tayo doon sa components niya, horizontal and then vertical. And then instead of focusing on the coordinates given for the 2 points A and then B, yung respective horizontal and then vertical distances na lang nila from the point of origin. So magiging ganito. So the location, the exact location of point A, okay, from the point of origin is definitely 6 and then 2. 6 is the horizontal distance, 2 is the vertical distance. And then the exact location of point B from the point of origin are 3 horizontal and then 4 vertical. Okay, now take note that the total moment generated by this about point O is a counterclockwise moment whose value is equivalent to 150 pounds feet. So definitely the strategic point that we will be using to compute the moment is definitely point O. Okay, now take note that it must be point O kasi hindi ang total moment natin ay hindi katulad ng couple na independent sa kahit point, sa kahit anong point of rotation. So definitely kapag sa point A tayo kumuha ng total moment, so hindi na 150 pounds feet yung makukuha natin. Kasi yung total moment ay hindi couple. Tanging couple lang yung moment na independent sa kahit anong point of rotation. So I hope that I am clear regarding this one, this important concept about couple. Anyway, so going back to our calculation, So let's use again point O as our point of rotation. So summation moment about point O. So let's start with the moment generated by force F. So definitely the moment it is generating is counterclockwise, and then the moment arm is 3. So that is negative F times the moment arm 3. And the next is the moment generated by the components of force P. So let's start with the X component. So the moment is also counterclockwise. The moment arm is 2. So that is negative P sub X times 2. And the next is the Y component. So the rotation is clockwise. The moment arm is 6. Okay, and the next is C, the couple. So take note, couple is a moment. So there is no need for us to use the formula force times distance. So definitely, yung 130 na magnitude na niya kasi it is already expressed in terms of moment because of the unit. Okay, naka-pounds feet kasi siya. So that's the standard unit of moment if you can still remember under English unit. So dahil ang rotation niya counterclockwise, so negative C. Okay, and then that's it. Okay, so let's substitute. So if you can still remember, the element on the left side is also the total moment, which is equivalent to a counterclockwise 150 pounds feet. So that must be negative. And then the magnitude of F is 45. The magnitude of the X component of P is 35 sine theta. And then P sub Y is 35 cosine theta. And then lastly, the couple, which is equivalent to 130. So by simplifying this further, we will be having this. Okay. Now, as you can see, we already have only one unknown in our current equation. So meaning to say, solvable na siya. However, the appropriate math or the right mathematics that we need for us to be able to compute the value of the unknown here, which is theta, hindi nyo pa kasalukuyang nakukuha. Okay, yung tamang math na kailangan natin para makuha yung unknown dito sa equation natin ay manggagaling pa sa numerical solutions. So unfortunately, hindi siya basta-basta kayang makuha gamit yung basic mathematics na alam natin so far. So how would we compute the value of theta, sir, if we can't use the basic mathematics that we so far know? Now, the good thing is that we have calculator if you are familiar to one of its function, which is ShipSolve. So by using ShipSolve, we will be able to compute the value of theta. Okay? So, paano ba? Okay, so for the meantime, change lang ako ng screen ko.